It was supposed to be just another quiet October evening in Fairview, the kind of town where neighbors left their doors unlocked and kids still played until dusk without fear. Willow Lane was a picture of suburban comfort, trimmed hedges, warm porch lights, the sound of laughter echoing between houses. But inside the Johnson home, the heart of that community, something was unraveling in silence. Days later, when police forced their way inside after concerned neighbors called for a welfare check, what they discovered in the basement shocked not only Fairview, but the entire country. 8 lifeless bodies, all arranged side by side as though placed there for display. The Johnson family was gone. A picture-perfect household, erased in a way so chilling, so deliberate, that investigators struggled to comprehend what they were seeing. The Johnsons had always been the kind of family people pointed to when describing stability. Michael Johnson, 47, was steady as clockwork. A mechanical engineer, he left for work at exactly 7:30 each morning, coffee in hand, briefcase at his side. His neighbors often joked you could set your watch by the sound of his car pulling out of the driveway. Patricia, 45, was the warmth of the household. She volunteered at church, baked pies for neighborhood gatherings, and always had a kind word for anyone who stopped by. Together, they were the backbone of Willow Lane. Then there were their 6 children. Ethan, 19, a college sophomore, quiet and thoughtful, who had recently come home for the semester. Grace, 17, ambitious and kind-hearted, a high school senior with dreams of becoming a nurse. Thomas, 14, shy but athletic, always seen on his bike racing down the cul-de-sac. Lily, 11, full of energy, who carried her sketchbook everywhere she went. Hannah, 8, bubbly and imaginative, obsessed with fairy tales. And Jacob, just 5, the baby of the family, often perched on Patricia's hip at Sunday services. To the outside world, the Johnsons represented everything good about small-town America. Church on Sundays, school activities, backyard barbecues. No scandals, no secrets, or at least none that anyone saw. Which is why their sudden silence was so unsettling. It began subtly. Patricia missed a church committee meeting. The children stopped showing up for school. Michael's car remained in the driveway on weekday mornings. Neighbors waved but got no response. Days passed, and the once lively home grew dark and still. One neighbor, Carol Simmons, later recalled, "I saw Michael on Monday morning. He was standing in the yard, staring off like he didn't even see me. I waved, but he didn't wave back. It wasn't like him at all." By Wednesday night, strange things were noticed. Lights flickering on and off at odd hours. What sounded like muffled shouting. By Friday, the Johnson home was dark. And by Monday, when the mail had piled up and no one had been seen for a week, someone finally called the police. Officers arrived at the neat white colonial-style house, expecting perhaps a medical emergency. They knocked repeatedly. No answer. The door was locked. Forcing entry, they stepped into an eerily ordinary scene. The living room was tidy, a half-finished puzzle on the coffee table. The kitchen smelled faintly of cinnamon, as if Patricia had baked days earlier. Nothing seemed out of place, until they reached the basement. The door was bolted shut from the outside. That alone raised alarms. When officers pried it open and descended the creaking steps, their flashlights revealed what no one could have prepared for. 8 bodies. The entire Johnson family. Arranged side by side on the cold concrete, their hands folded, their faces turned upward. Not hidden. Not hurriedly discarded. Placed. The silence in that basement was unbearable. One officer later admitted, it was like walking into a funeral someone had set up in secret. Whoever did it wanted us to see them like that. Initial examinations revealed no gunshot wounds, no stabbings, no blood spatter. No forced entry into the home. The family had not fought. They had been subdued, quietly, methodically. Toxicology later confirmed the presence of a powerful sedative, the kind not easily obtained. As news broke, Fairview was engulfed in shock. Reporters descended, cameras flashing outside Willow Lane. Neighbors clutched each other in disbelief, weeping openly. This wasn't just tragedy, it was betrayal of the very idea of safety. Theories multiplied. Some suspected a murder-suicide, perhaps by Michael. But why would his body be laid out with the rest, carefully arranged? Others wondered if Ethan, the troubled eldest son, had been responsible. He had struggled with depression, dropped classes, written cryptic online posts about families disappearing together. But again, why was his body found among the others? Attention turned briefly outward. Patricia's estranged brother, with a history of violence, was questioned. But he had an alibi hundreds of miles away. Co-workers of Michael mentioned he had been stressed about looming layoffs, withdrawn, irritable. Church friends revealed Patricia had confided about a rough patch at home. Still, nothing pointed definitively to an intruder, or to one family member. The only certainty was the chilling deliberation. The bolted basement door. The neat arrangement of the bodies. The absence of chaos. Whoever was responsible hadn't just killed the Johnsons. They had staged them. Detective Alan Reeves, lead investigator, addressed the press with grim restraint. "This was not random," he said. "This was deliberate. And until we know who did this, we cannot say the community is safe." Forensic teams scoured the house, dusting for prints, swabbing for DNA. Every trace belonged to the family. No outsiders. No strangers. It was as though no one else had entered that house. And yet, someone had. Then came the first real lead. A neighbor's newly installed security camera had captured a blurred figure near the Johnson home on the night of October 28th. The figure lingered for nearly 20 minutes before slipping away into the dark. Grainy and indistinct, the footage provided no clear identity. Some thought it resembled a man. Others swore it was Ethan himself. The media seized on it, dubbing the unknown figure the Phantom of Willow Lane. Headlines screamed. Cable news speculated endlessly. Was this a cult killing? A deranged stranger? Or someone the Johnsons knew all too well? Reeves wasn't satisfied. He sifted through every detail of the family's lives. Ethan's notebooks revealed troubling lines. "Sometimes I wonder what it would be like if we all just disappeared together." Patricia's church counselor recalled her final visit when she said, "I'm worried about Michael. He's not himself. I don't know what he's capable of." Co-workers described Mercer, a disgruntled employee who had been fired recently and blamed Michael. He had once said, "One day he'll know what it's like to lose everything." Suspicion shifted wildly. Michael, Ethan, Mercer. Each had shadows, but none fit perfectly. And then came the discovery in Ethan's room. A hidden notebook. Not a diary, but a disturbing mix of sketches, writings, and lists. Detailed descriptions of his family's routines. Reflections on silence, on endings, on unity in death. The final entry, "Tomorrow it begins." The notebook was damning. It painted Ethan as the architect of his family's end. The press devoured it, splashing headlines about a troubled son who snapped. But Reeves hesitated. Something about it felt too neat. Too easy. Forensic results deepened his unease. The sedative found in the Johnson systems traced back to a stolen batch from a veterinary clinic. Security footage from the theft showed two figures. One short, one tall. The shorter matched Ethan's build. The taller. Many believed it resembled Mercer. The theory solidified, Ethan and Mercer together. The broken son and the bitter co-worker. A conspiracy to end the Johnson family. When Mercer was brought in, he denied everything but grew agitated when pressed. In court, prosecutors painted him as the manipulator, exploiting Ethan's fragility. The jury, shaken by the evidence, found him guilty. Life in prison, no parole. Fairview breathed. The case was solved. The monster caged. But Reeves sat awake nights, staring at Ethan's final words. "Tomorrow it begins." The phrasing gnawed at him. Not, "It ends." Not, "I end it." Begins. Then came the discovery that changed everything. Patricia's letters, hidden in a locked box at her church, addressed to someone only as D. In them, she spoke of being watched. Of late-night calls. Of threats that grew closer. She wrote, "He promised it would end in silence. I don't know how much longer we can hold on." The letters were dated months before Mercer's firing. Reeves' blood ran cold. If Patricia had been writing about someone else, someone not yet on their radar, then Mercer's conviction was a distraction. The true phantom might still be out there. One night, unable to sleep, Reeves drove past the Johnson house. The porch sagged, its windows boarded, its walls pale under the moonlight. He slowed, headlights sweeping across the yard. And then he saw him. A man, standing in the shadows of the porch. Watching. Reeves slammed the brakes, heart pounding, and leapt from his car. But by the time he reached the steps, the figure was gone. Vanished into the night. The nightmare of Willow Lane was far from over.